Alright, what is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be reacting to Canelo Álvarez G checks Terence Crawford for pushing him at the face off, man. Now, I'm not sure why Terence Crawford even did that. They've both came out and said they're on great terms and they don't have any hate towards each other. Heading towards this fight, they're cool, things like that. And they've even been seen having dinner together and everything like that. But there's a lot of hype towards this fight, and I guess Terence Crawford is just trying to, act crazy, build more hype. I'm not sure what it might be, but at the end of the day, man, Canelo Álvarez isn't going for any of that because it's just downright disrespectful, man. But yeah, and Canelo just continued to go off on him, saying he hasn't fought anybody either. Terence is a fraud, you know what I mean? But let's just dive into the video, man, see what it's talking about.
But talk shit, bud.
Listen. I might be the smaller fighter, but Canelo can testify to this. He went up against bigger fighters and been victorious. So all that smaller fighter and I'm the bigger fighter, that goes out the window when you got skills. But Canelo, he's a tremendous fighter. He's got the skills, the experience, the power. He got everything. That's why it's so intriguing. Everybody want to know, can Terence Crawford take Canelo power? Can Terence Crawford deal with Canelo pressure? Can Terence Crawford deal with Canelo's body attack and his experience? And that's why everybody want to see it, because they know how great Terence Crawford is, but they don't know how great Terence Crawford is at 168. We know what Canelo brings to the table, but nobody knows what Terence Crawford is bringing to the table at 168. And that's why the fight is going to be so intriguing. I never thought in a million years of me fighting Canelo. Never.
Don't get me wrong, okay? He's a good fighter, a great fighter. I always say before I see him calling me out and won the fight and everything, I say before he's a great fighter. But if you look at his career, mention one elite fighter. Just mention me one elite fighter.
So Postal wasn't elite?
Who?
Victor Postal.
Who's that guy?
Oh, so he wasn't commercialized. He wasn't a great. Ricky Burns wasn't elite.
What? 40 years old champion in that moment beat Mr. Postal in my gym. I saw that.
So Ricky Burns wasn't elite.
Ricky Burns doesn't elite.
Okay.
He's not elite.
It's cool. Well,
is there a champion?
I'm going to fight another elite.
There is
fighter
a champions,
in
good fighters, but elite fighters is different. Wait.
So I'm going to fight an elite fighter in September.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we're
going to find out.
Then we're going to find out.
And don't get me wrong, you're a great fighter.
I know I'm great.
You're a great fighter. But are you going to find out? I hope your uncle Turki Alashi pay you enough money, because it's going to be the last. That's for sure.
It may be. Maybe.
I hope he pay you enough.
But after fighters fight me, they never the same. So I just hope your career continue.
If you look at my career, never same after me.
You think this fight does more for your career than fighting David Benavidez?
You can see the career of Terence Crawford or Benavidez. Terence Crawford is undisputed champion in 2 weight classes, many championship fight. So he bring me something to the table. He bring me something to the table for my history, and that's all about.
So everyone has been talking about how Crawford and Canelo has been so respectful of each other. It wasn't until Crawford stepped to Canelo at the press conference for some reason. During the face-off, Crawford was letting Canelo know, this ain't no running shit. Excuse my French. You hear people talk about who won the press conference type of thing. Well, the first and second went to Crawford, especially the second, due to the face-off alone. However, Canelo just flipped the table during a legendary interview on top of skyscrapers with Tom Brady, Shaq, and Dana White being there. Canelo Álvarez pulled off an Aerospins type of move by completely disrespecting Crawford's resume. He dissed Crawford's resume, saying that it's basically trash. You beat nobody, at least nobody elite. Canelo directly asked Crawford, name the elite fighter you beat. And would you guys believe Crawford named freaking Ricky Byrne and Postal? Like, what? And that's when Canelo completely cooked Crawford. He said exactly. And on the other hand, Crawford was completely praising Canelo Álvarez. Till that point, especially, unlike the time when Errol Spence will completely trash Crawford's resume, at least Crawford will try to trash Errol Spence's resume, saying that we both got the same resume. If my resume is trash, then your resume is trash, type of thing. But Crawford wasn't doing that to Canelo Álvarez because he respects him too much, apparently. That's what I mean when I said Canelo took a page out of Errol Spence's book, because that's exactly what Errol Spence said about Crawford. And we saw how that fight went, because at the end, Crawford did tell Canelo, well, you an elite fighter, Canelo. I'm fighting you September 13th. However, remember, when Crawford told that to Spence, he told him, I'm going to make you look like another nobody. They say I ain't fight nobody after I beat Spence. I guess they going to say I fought and beat another nobody. This is why, as a fighter, you never trash your freaking resume by trashing your best win, like Crawford did to Errol Spence, saying that he's not a Hall of Famer, without knowing the definition of a freaking Hall of Famer. If Errol Spence is not a Hall of Famer, then Crawford never beat a Hall of Famer, meaning he can't be that great of a fighter since you're only as great as the fighters you beat. Duh. Now, Crawford probably meant Errol Spence is not an all-time great. However, a Hall of Famer? Do you know there's fighters that have many losses on their resume, became a champion, and lost the title the next day? That's it, that's all. And they in the Hall of Fame? Which means Errol Spence is overqualified to be a Hall of Famer. Errol Spence is 3 or 4 times a Hall of Famer compared to these other Hall of Famers. And that's what made Errol Spence versus Crawford such a huge fight that the fans cared about. It was a significant fight because it was pound for pound number 1 at that time versus pound for pound number 2. 2 of the top 3 pound for pounds went against each other. The fight was so massive because both Errol Spence and Crawford were not just Hall of Famers, they were legendary, undefeated fighters in their primes fighting each other for the undisputed supremacy and pound for pound number 1 status. The undisputed status, because Crawford was already pound for pound number 1. That's the reason why they said Crawford versus Errol Spence is the fight of the decade. Duh. It's because Errol Spence is a legendary fighter. If Errol Spence wasn't such a legendary Hall of Fame fighter, then that fight wouldn't have been the fight of the decade. Remember, Crawford promoted the fight as the fight of the decade, so he should have had known. This is why, instead of Crawford trashing his own resume by trashing his biggest win, he should be throwing the nice guy and the respectful guy out of the window when he sees another man in front of him downplaying all of his accomplishments. The first name he should have brought up is Errol Spence. I dominated him in the fight of the decade. I didn't get my ass whooped like you did against Floyd, or like you robbed so-and-so, Lara, Gennady Golovkin, whoever it is. That would have had really triggered Canelo and got everyone's attention, especially in such a huge interview. You got Shaq, Tom Brady, and Dana White there. You're gonna let another man disrespect all of your accomplishments like that? A PED cheater at that? Oh, hell no. I would have had one off if I was Bud. Now, another thing Bud could have had said, obviously, if Crawford came back with, outside of Spence, who did you beat? Sean Porter. I knocked him out. Another Hall of Fame legendary fighter. Now what? His resume probably more stacked than yours, Canelo. Who? Porter. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And then, if Canelo says, say another one. Give me another name. Kell Brook. Because Kell Brook will beat the shit out of Ricky Burns. And he would have had probably beat Postal. I'm not sure. And if Canelo says, that's it, that's when Crawford could have said, Benavidez. Benavidez who? Benavidez's brother. They said he was better than Benavidez himself back then. I didn't duck him like you ducked Benavidez. I knocked him out. Man, that would have had ended the conversation. It would have had knocked out Canelo. Is this trash talking? No, this is facts talking. And that's what I'm talking about. If Crawford has enough audacity to push on Canelo the way he did, why the hell wouldn't you speak facts when another man is talking trash on you? So I was really disappointed in Crawford and the way he carried himself in that interview. There is a fine line between respect and disrespect. Remember what Cat Williams said on the Shay Shay interview? He said, I'm here to speak the truth. We are not going to allow liars to rewrite history. And that's exactly what Crawford was doing there. He was allowing Canelo to rewrite history. Matter of fact, he was helping Canelo. Instead of Crawford focusing on making himself look good, he's focusing on making Canelo look good. He keeps talking about how the weight is not the issue. Canelo did it before. He fought bigger guys. Like, what? Height and size is two different things. Mike Tyson is at heavyweight and he's shorter than Jermell Charlo. So what? He's shorter. That doesn't make him smaller. Who did he fight that was 3 divisions bigger than him like Crawford is doing? No freaking body? That's equivalence of Canelo moving up to heavyweight to fight Usyk. So how illogical is it to give Canelo credit for something he never did and he will never be willing to do, daring to do? Matter of fact, Canelo is not even willing to fight Benavidez, a guy who was in his freaking division. What the hell are we talking about Canelo moving up 3 weight divisions to fight an undisputed champion like Usyk? Let's stop the cap. Crawford, you need to stop the cap. Worry about Canelo dissing your ass, talking about you ain't beat nobody for real. When you got Gamboa on your resume, you got Errol Spence, you got Porter, you got Kell Brook, you got Benavidez, and I can go on and on and on. From Amir Khan, etc., etc., etc. Drop the name opponents. You should point out how you fought Benavidez and Canelo didn't fight Benavidez. I mean, if Canelo is going to go that low, you should point out you can't compare the resume of the Boogeyman to the Duckman. What are you going to compare? We know for a fact if Canelo was in the same division as Crawford, he would have had never fought Bud. Not in a million years. He's only fighting you because you are handicapped. Wake up. Because that's the same shit Jermell Charlo was saying. And then on fight night, he realized, oh shit, that way ain't no joke. You are fighting at a huge disadvantage. You need to let people know that. Because guess why? Once you beat him under them circumstances, you saying you the GOAT. Instead, Crawford is getting played left and right. Old media is setting him up left and right for layups without him seeing it. They discrediting him the whole time, even if he wins already. Talking about Canelo is old, even though Canelo is younger. Talking about Crawford is bigger, even though he's moving up 3 weight classes. Crawford himself is discrediting himself, saying that Canelo did it before, even though Canelo or any other fighter never did it before. We never had a fighter in history pretty much move up 3 weight classes one time like Crawford did to fight an undisputed champion like Canelo. It has never happened before. But to say Canelo did it is crazy because Canelo only said he will move up to fight Usyk at heavyweight for undisputed, but he will never do that. Saying it doesn't count. Another thing, Canelo wouldn't even fight someone in his own division, Benavidez. Canelo said Benavidez is 25 pounds bigger than him. That's why he wouldn't fight him. A guy in his own freaking division. We're not talking about Canelo moving up 3 weight divisions. I mean, the only time Canelo was willing to move up 3 weight divisions is to fight Jake Paul. So let's stop right there and then. With that being said, Canelo pretty much schooled Crawford. That right there, he punked Crawford because Crawford is kissing his ass, respectfully. To each his own, though. Once they discredit Crawford for beating Canelo, if he does beat Canelo, he's going to think twice about everything he said. And not just that, if he has a tough fight, or better yet, if he loses, then he really going to hate making all them silly comments that he did, that the weight doesn't matter, this, that, and the third. Canelo is not that big, and Canelo did it before. There's a fine line between respect and disrespect. If you disrespect my accomplishments and lie on them, I'm on your ass. No diddy, never that. It's so funny the way Crawford is responding to Canelo disrespect with respect. I don't know if that's due to him worrying about the backlash of the race fans or whatnot, but who cares about that, because they hate you anyway. Because a year ago, Canelo was not interested in the Crawford fight. He asked for nearly the same amount to fight Crawford that he was asking to fight Benavidez, 150 million, right? He said no to 100 million back then. But what was so interesting, Canelo was dissing Crawford, so he won't fight him. He said that Madrimov beat him, and Crawford only beat one guy, Spence. However, at least Crawford came back with, don't do that, Canelo. You moved up and lost. I moved up and won. There's a difference. However, now it's to the people. I'm not doing anything great. I'm doing something very normal, because Canelo, he been there, done that. He already did what I'm trying to do. He already moved up as the smaller guy, and he won. And I'm like, what? Whatever happened to the other shit? You moved up and lost. And when the hell did Canelo move up 3 weight classes to his 6th weight class to fight Usyk for undisputed? That never happened. So go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe below, and to be continued on the next episode.
But yeah, that's the end of the video. Yeah, let me know what y'all thought about this whole situation, man. But I don't know, man. Clearly Terence Crawford took the disrespect, while Canelo Álvarez didn't take any disrespect at all, man. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. Why? Tell me why, when Canelo Álvarez dissed Terence Crawford and said you hadn't fought anybody with a name, you hadn't fought anybody, you haven't fought any skilled fighter in general, bro. Like, you're a fraud. He's basically calling him a fraud, bro. You know what I mean? Basically calling. But to be fair though, like, if he hadn't fought anybody, why would you want to fight him though? Like, it's kind of weird. If you're calling him out for not fighting anybody, you haven't fought anybody, your record sucks, you're fighting old people, like, why would you even want to fight the guy in the first place? Wouldn't you want to fight someone with actual skill, someone who's actually fighting skilled fighters? Like, I don't know, man. Maybe he's just doing it because he has to, for the money. It's a good fight to make, and, you know, people just think Terence Crawford is the next big thing. I don't know, man. You never really know still, but clearly Terence Crawford didn't know how to respond to that. He could only name 2 fighters in his whole entire resume, bro. He could only name 2 fighters. He tried to convince Canelo Álvarez with 2 fighters on his resume. That is absolutely crazy. And he didn't even mention Errol Spence Jr., which is crazy still, but I didn't know. I think that was the fight that actually put him on the map, actually, because after that fight, people actually started to realize who Terence Crawford actually is a lot more after that Errol Spence fight. So I'm not sure why he didn't mention that, but I don't know, man. Maybe they know something we don't. I don't know, man. Why wouldn't he mention that fight? Really don't know. But yeah, clearly Terence Crawford took the disrespect, man. He didn't know how to respond. But I mean, they've been respectful during the whole event. They've had brunch together, lunch. They've been eating together at a dinner table. Everything's just been on good terms, and they even came out and said, hey, it's no hate. You know, it's nothing. We're cool, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. It's boxing still. Boxing is boxing, man. And, you know, Canelo's calling him out, man. Even though Canelo did lose to Floyd Mayweather, at least he lost to one of the greatest boxers of all time, right? Like, keep it real. Yeah, he did lose to the greatest boxer of all time. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. But yeah, you don't win all the time, and that's just what it is. You can't knock the guy for losing, because at the end of the day, even though he lost, he's still one of the biggest boxers till this day. You know what I mean? Even though he took a loss to Floyd Mayweather, he's still one of the biggest. You know what I mean? So that's just what it is, man. But just gonna end the video here. Don't have too much to say. If you did enjoy the video, subscribe for more content. Let me know what y'all thought about the whole situation. And yeah, man, let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think Terence Crawford fought actual skilled fighters and he has a good resume, and Canelo is just like yapping? Or let me know what y'all think, man. Peace out.